In boxing, they say that styles make fights. If we had to switch out, make it happen, because we're going back there. If we had to switch out and make it happen into that final four with somebody, what do you think that may have looked at like? And I ask you, Chromatics.
Well, I can't be really mad at who really made it through, because they were the stronger ones. Maybe Snakey would have been the only one that could have make it happen, could have replaced. So it would have looked more, I think, in terms of the topics that they would have pulled from. It would have been a little bit more content heavy, because when Snakey, it was given any more chorus style, and he was, as you were mentioning, Shaq, he was building more choruses, right? And what we saw is people who were able to stay paying attention to what, in terms of the judging points, as we saw Myron working the audience, even though he was giving them lyrics, whatnot, working the audience on a continuous basis. Yeah, but I think Make It Happen definitely would have probably given it a little more content and the lyrical aspect of things, as opposed to the more so the rendition, the presentation, the crowd response. Yes.
And I'll go back to you as well, but the combative nature, the energy that you bring to the stage, coming with your AK-47 guitar, talking about what does that inner battler, that person talking about the guile, what do you feel in a situation like that, looking at these fellas freestyling?
Well,
or even next tempo?
For me, and we talk about it off air, when you get into battle, almost anything is fair game.
Yeah.
So that, and it's interesting, for the third time for the night, Chromatics mentioned something off air that I took notice of. Because the minute they send the two people on stage, I automatically saw the length of Pretty Pants.
Yep.
I saw Myron hat. I saw the tightness of Myron pants. So you immediately start looking at things that you know could form ammunition.
Yeah.
Right? And that is just the inner, battler coming out.
The inner fighter. Inner ball man.
And I'm saying again, what you see tonight was the people with the broader bases. Right? So what I would encourage a lot of the younger artists to at least study that Kaiso form, study that extempo form. And for the extempo artists who may not, well, the thing is, most of the times you find that the artists who get into extempo would have a broader base automatically. But I think for both of them, they need to look at the different forms, because it will give you a broader base, it will give you a broader term of reference, so that in any space you see Myron was in both things tonight.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
And there are a few other artists
He gave a good account of himself as well.
Could do that, right? I know a lot of local artists who are very good at freestyling. Put them in an extempo form and they like fish out of water, right? So that, that's that broad base again and that frame of reference. And, I think it is good for the experience for people like Pretty and all of them who come to the freestyle, because now you get that. And if I hope that they were able to view the extempo part of it while waiting to do the freestyle too. Because what we really need, again, at the end of the day, while they give them the freedom to choose a rhythm that was steeped in a little bit of dancehall, a little bit of reggae, we had to understand that at the end of the day, we had to find our voice. We are Trinbagonians putting on this thing, right? And nothing is wrong with using those different forms or even incorporating them, because we know that is what they use them into. But we have to understand too that there's an importance in understanding what is our voice in the whole thing. And even in the freestyle battle, I like how, again, Myron being there, Calypso Night being there, and even if you listen to Pretty, how he bring it forward, I like the fact that you saw Trinbagonian creativeness, highlighting in this whole freestyle and extempo.
But going to the rhythm, specifically you're talking about the rhythm, I mean, it says here on the paper, within the rules that we have in front of us, a soca, dancehall, calypso rhythm. Now, Sans Humanity, Marianne, Roman Kokal, these are all big songs, classics.
Right.
So I think maybe our original production is great. I'm not sure what that rhythm is. Not familiar with it.
Yeah.
But something like a Marshall and Bungie's collaboration, that sort of beat.
Right.
Marshall and Stalin Love Fire. I could hear these sort of soca-ish rap-so vibes that I think we should use and utilize in the freestyle format.
You say that, and there are three things that come to mind. One, I think that going forward, the performance, even from tomorrow, not even a freestyle competition, but that level of experience, because I think some schooling went on, and Preedy would have learned from that experience that he just had. I also think that those final rounds where there wasn't a topic that was chosen for someone, and they were just able to riff off of each other.
Yeah.
We saw the level
Of course.
of the freestyle rise. And last but not least, I really appreciate that point about building your frames of reference, terms of reference. There's nothing new under the sun. You might approach it in a little different way.
Exactly.
So I am an artist. These are the things that resonate with me. So like when I listen to Bunji Garland take a song and go forward with it, like something like The Struggle, or those songs that you would have done originally, well, based on stuff done by Maestro, and look at and just build on those literal flames.
Yeah.
There's so much that we have done, but there's the writer Loveless. He asks the question all the time, what will we do with what we have done? Because sometimes we reach and we think, we first to this party and nobody else and wash the foot and come. So how do we build on this legacy that we have?
Well, again, and this is why the work that our media houses do as far as culture is concerned is important, because, you know, doing the morning show, I remember getting a question from one of the hosts about the fact that a whole lot of soca artists and younger artists seem to be going back to the root of calypso in terms of the melodies, the topics, the things they're singing about. And my view was it was inevitable that it had to go back there, because at the end of the day, you can only build on the foundation that is there, that is provided. And so we are influenced by all these other things, yes. But our foundation is our foundation. So the point that Chromatics make is very important, in that even if you want to make it something that is modern, we have so many modern instrumentals, and we get that they probably went for original.
Yeah.
When you use an instrumental, let's say a raga soca kind of instrumental, what you do first to begin is that you give the audience a frame of reference of something they might be familiar with.
Exactly.
And so they may be better able to gauge how the artist is able to make this thing that we are familiar with their own.
Yeah.
You understand? That is why Sans Humanité as the melody remains the most popular in extempo. It is the one that people know the most. They are most familiar with it. And so they are able to have this ground zero to gauge you on. How well do you run on this track that we are all familiar with? So the judges are the official judges. But then you have the audience gauging you, which is why when you don't come with your A game, you go get boo or you go get toilet paper, because they might not be the conventional judges, but they understand the frame of reference too. So that point he made is important. I think, again, I don't want to get into the being overly critical because it's the first one, but I think that they need to look at putting more structure to the freestyle competition. I think it has a lot of potential. And I think that if they structure it properly and really check the boxes of what are we trying to achieve, you must always start with the end result to understand how you get into that. What are we trying to achieve? Is this just bringing younger eyes, or are we trying to develop these artists and this art form?
Yeah, sure.
That is important.
And as opposed to just checking boxes, one of the things that I think they were successful at is bringing a group of people or a cohort of people to the stage, to the platform, to a level that people may not necessarily see them. So I might see somebody, because some people say after God is Google, so I could see somebody Googling make it happen.
Yeah.
And see, but wait now, I find the fellas talking about him saying that, well, he here for a while, but I don't know him, so let me see what he's done.
Yeah.
And being able to say, okay, well, let me follow somebody a little more.
I think people watching on and who will just get the word of mouth that tonight, you're going to see next year a lot, hopefully that they keep it and but we're going to see a lot of more people come out the woodwork. Because a lot of you will be watching this or get footage of it after and say,
Definitely.
I could do that. I could beat that man. I could do so and so. So I think it will just move forward. And before you go, Shaq, what some of you all at home might not be seeing is when in the last two rounds of the freestyle competition, the type of crowd
response,
energy that was being had here tonight at the grandstand.
Yeah.
It was just a positive.
And just before you make that point, and I think right now the demographic in the grandstand is kind of traditional.
Yeah.
So I want to see whether or not that changes a little bit next time around, if it's held, where people say, but wait, no, they're saying something. I identify with it a little more. I'm going to be there.
And the other thing I want to say, 2 points. On that note, a lot of times we look at the attendance and we're a little disheartened by the attendance. And I could understand that. But I also want to say we have to remember that these things being televised and streamed now, right? So a lot of people, while they may not be here, I am sure there are a lot more eyes on this than the attendance represents. But the other thing I want to say too is that, you know, recently I saw Omari make a post that was so profound where he said, don't confuse competition with a competition. And in that vein, I want to say that for the artists who didn't advance to the final rounds, people like Niall Mansell and Dion Diaz, who I personally think, you know, they get the raw deal tonight. But I think that their proficiency showed through regardless of the judging. So I want to tell even the aspiring youngsters who want to come into the freestyle, understand that even though the judging mightn't always go your way, the experience is important. And regardless of the judging, as long as you put your best foot forward and your profession, people are going to see your worth. People are going to see your proficiency. So I think it's a good platform for the people who are aspiring to come through and try to put the talent on display.
And one of the things I really appreciate about what you just said in terms of like Dion and Niall Manswell is that people can come to the same place from very different places.
Exactly.
In terms of looking at the fact that Niall would have been dealing, is visually impaired, he's actually blind, but also what he's able to do, what he's able to accomplish. The fact that, wait now, that fella on the stage dealing with the extempo, he actually went to Berkeley.
Exactly.
So they're different things, and you make it cool, and you're able to normalize these things and achieve greatness, as opposed to saying, well, nah boy, how'd I go look, boy? Or I'm not able to do that because what people around by me or my ends might say. So I think it all carries the conversation forward. But we take a short break. We come back to the conversation, thanking you, Be Mobile and Tatil, as well as thanking you, looking at where we are streaming Kaiserama 2023. Stay with us. We return with more.